I recognize the member for Sussex Three Rivers.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker, so very much. And I'm standing here with, a lot of mixed feelings today. I'm grateful that the members of this House who represent constituents across the ridings are together lifting the veil in a very big way to break the silence on abuse that has stayed hidden in our communities for too long. I'm sad that growing statistics of domestic, intimate partner and family violence and gender-based violence are a part of a shameful reality in our province. I'm proud that we're taking a meaningful step as a province to call the people out who are causing the harm. It's real, it's urgent, and it is life-threatening. I wish more than anything this declaration wasn't needed at all. Here in New Brunswick, more women, children, and men face physical and emotional violence than anywhere else in Atlantic Canada. Vulnerable populations are disproportionately impacted. We are #1 in Atlantic Canada. What a shame. That isn't a statistic we want. We have to do so much better, and until we call it what it is, I'm not so sure we can. We have an epidemic and a systemic crisis on our hands, and we want survivors to know we see them as people elected to help protect and represent them. With this motion, we are saying together that New Brunswickers will not tolerate any form of gender-based violence. No one deserves to be violated and left black and blue because it suits somebody else, Madam Speaker. Together, we are saying as a society that regardless of your income, social status, ethnicity, physical ability, sexual orientation, color of your hair, the color of your skin, your gender, your age, these episodes of abuse are no longer dirty little secrets held in silence behind closed doors. This motion declares gender-based violence, intimate partner violence, family violence, and sexual violence an epidemic and systemic crisis in New Brunswick. This declaration is not just words on paper, it is a recognition of the lived realities of far too many in our province. It is a call to action backed by courage, compassion, and the clarity that comes when we choose to listen to survivors and to the people who walk beside them every day. This declaration, in part, is a response to the Canadian women parliamentarians who instigated a national call to action, urging governments at all levels to mobilize a society-wide response. Their call asked us to name the crisis for what it is, an epidemic. And it asked us to respond not with half measures, but with the urgency and coordination a true epidemic demands. Nova Scotia was among the first to respond, and we commend them. Today, we stand here proudly as New Brunswick joins them. Our province is now part of this national movement, one that says clearly, we will not stand by, we will act. Madam Speaker, this declaration is also a direct response to the Mass Casualty Commission's final report, which followed the horrific tragedy in Portapique in April 2020, Portapique, Nova Scotia. That mass shooting, the worst in Canadian history, was rooted in domestic violence. The Commission did not mince words. Systemic failures, unchecked warning signs, and an inability to respond meaningfully to intimate partner violence all played a role in that tragedy. We are here today to say enough. We are here today to say, we hear you, we believe you, and we will act. The word epidemic matters. It was chosen with intention, especially after extensive consultations with organizations across New Brunswick who work on the front lines of this crisis. These organizations told us what they are seeing: rising rates of violence, worsening severity, and the unbearable weight being carried by survivors and service providers alike. The reality is that over the past decade, and particularly since COVID, rates of gender-based violence have risen, not quietly, not subtly, but dramatically. Shelters are full, crisis lines are overwhelmed, survivors are waiting for housing, for counseling, for safety, and sometimes that wait costs them everything, Madam Speaker. I want to take a moment to express again our deepest gratitude to the organizations that helped shape this declaration. Their guidance, their advocacy, and in many cases their lived experience have made today possible. In particular, we thank the New Brunswick Women's Council, Sexual Violence New Brunswick, the Domestic Violence Association of New Brunswick, Réseau des Services pour Victimes de Violence de Nouveau-Brunswick, the New Brunswick Federation of Labour, White Ribbon, Fredericton, Survivors Against Violence, We're Here for You Canada, and so many more. Some of you are with us here today in the legislature, and I want you to know how much it means to us for you to be here. You brought forward your stories, your research, your data, and your demands. You told us what was working and what was broken, and we listened. We listened when you said that violence does not happen in a vacuum. It is embedded in systems, in policing, in healthcare, in education, in housing, in child protection. You told us that this isn't just about one person harming another. It's about how our society responds, or too often fails to respond. And you were clear. Using the word epidemic was not symbolic. It is strategic. It is essential, because only when we name a crisis truthfully can we begin to confront it effectively. For survivors, women, children, and men, this moment is powerful. For the people who have endured silence, shame, and fear, for the families of those who have lost, to domestic violence, for the advocates who have carried this burden year after year, this declaration says, we see you, we stand with you, and we are done with the silence. Madam Speaker, this epidemic is one that touches every corner and resident of our province, rural, urban, Indigenous communities, newcomers to us, LGBTQIA+ individuals, people with disabilities. Gender-based violence does not discriminate, and our response must be just as far-reaching. There must be action across the system to address the gravity of this systemic crisis. This declaration cannot be the end. It must be the beginning. To every survivor watching or listening today, I want to say this from the bottom of my heart. This is for you. This is for your strength, your survival, your courage to keep going. For every time you were not believed, not protected, not helped, this is a step toward justice. To those who have lost loved ones, this is for them and for you. And to those still living in fear, please know you are not alone. There is a community behind you, and there is a province that today has stood up and said, we will not look away. Let this be the moment we look back on and say, that was when things began to change. Let this be the moment New Brunswick shouted it from the rooftops. We will not accept violence in our homes, in our communities, or anywhere in our province. Not now, not ever. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
On the sub-amendment that reads, replacing in the last whereas clause the words a systemic crisis with the words an epidemic and systemic crisis, and in the resolution clause replacing the words a systemic crisis with an epidemic and a systemic crisis. All those in favor of the motion will please say yay. Yay. All those opposed will please say nay. In my opinion, the yeas have it. On the amendment as amended, all those in favor of the motion will please say yay. Yay. All those opposed will please say nay. In my opinion, the yeas have it. I declare the motion carried. On the motion as amended.